So yeah, so we're going to run through ASK BOSCO, our thoughts and feelings towards that. So we're going to talk about reducing ad spend, increasing sales with AI powered analytics. So basically just making more money from what a machine tells you to do. So I'm Emily. I am the director of product at ASK BOSCO. I've worked with John for a number of years and obviously, you know, helping in terms of creating the brand and everything. We're talking about AI today, and I'm from Yorkshire, so I apologize for the vowel. I can't like always get my mouth around AI all the time, so if that goes a bit wrong, apologies for that. So Rosie, do you want to intro yourself?
Yeah, so I'm Rosie, and I work on the algorithm behind the ASK BOSCO screen. I've had clients before talk to me when they've spoken to sales, and they've been like, "Oh, I thought Dr. Rosie was the AI, but it's a real person." But yeah, I am a real person.
Cool. So do you even AI, bro? So does anyone who AIs in the room? Who's used ChatGPT? Yeah, like everybody. So in terms of AI and how it's taken off, I suppose in the last 6 months, people would think it's rocketed. It's this thing that's come out of nowhere. But actually, I'm here to tell you not to worry. AI is something that has actually been developed on the last, 20, 25 years. It's just something that we maybe haven't been as, aware of, or it hasn't been as out there in the public space, but it is something that has been happening. And obviously we've got ChatGPT and everything like that at the moment, where you can log on and have a conversation with the internet if you feel that way inclined. What I'm going to sort of highlight here is just in terms of all the news and all of the noise, I suppose, that we've got from AI in terms of everything that's happening or what potentially could happen in this space. It is really noisy. And one thing that we do know is that, the media and everything, we can get, widespread panic around these sorts of topics. So, ChatGPT been described as the wolf at the door, job losses and all of this type of thing. And I suppose what we're here to say is don't panic. We as humans have we typically panic. So these are some of the articles that we've pulled out in terms of, people being worried that horses were going to become extinct when cars became, got created. Women, bicycles causing women to go insane because, don't exercise too much because you don't know what could happen to women. And, in terms of different articles, so we don't always get it right. We do have a tendency to panic. AI is here. It's not going to go anywhere, but I think we can, we can learn to adapt and it's going to be okay. So don't be an ostrich, I suppose. We need to kind of get our heads out of the sand, and AI is something that we need to do, and it's probably now it's the time to adapt. Ironically, this ostrich was created by AI. It's kind of the point. So, it's coming. And there are things that we know we can do immediately. So I know there's all these clever things in terms of, I don't know, but John really wants a self-driving car. Say you kind of already have one.
It self-drives itself.
Right, yeah, okay. So they do a bit, but not from an insurance point of view. But
when I'm using the car to get through.
But there are things that we can do, and from a marketing agency point of view, there's things that we know we can do. So in terms of copy, images, and data, so people are using ChatGPT to write better job descriptions, titles, content, things like that. Maybe not better, but using it to speed up the process. You maybe have a person to read over the top of it, that type of thing. Images, I thought the ostrich looked pretty good, so that you can see in terms of use of images, but then also data, and that's one of the things that we're going to talk about. And I suppose what Lunio and a similar web we've talked about today, this morning, is around, there is so much data out there. So what can we do from an AI point of view to kind of crunch that data and get to some of the decisions a little bit quicker? So we all have too much data. Increasing CPCs, reduce ROAS, and increasing cost of sale. Not that this is, doom and gloom. It is basically we have loads of data and everything's getting more expensive. You don't need me to tell you that. There isn't, it just in the room, there isn't as much money in everyone's wallet at the end of the month. The majority of spend is through Facebook and Google, so 75% of marketing spend is monopolized by these brands. And 25% of your marketing spend is actually wasted. So I don't have as good a graph as what Adam had earlier, but just on the whole, 25%.
It's a nice clean number.
yeah, is wasted. We also believe that less than a third of marketers actually have an attribution model that they can trust. And 70% focus on traffic as opposed to focusing on the conversion. So if you're focusing on where you're getting the traffic from, where you're actually spending money, you need to focus more on where you're actually getting the sale from. So which click wins? Where should you invest your next one? So this is what John obviously started with, but he doesn't get to click the button on the slide this time that does this. So where should you invest your next pound, dollar, any money currency in order to make the most money back online? That's kind of the question that we're answering with Ask Bosco. And we believe that it's a complex puzzle that's perfect for AI. The reasons for this is that humans are terrible at predicting things. So, you know, there'll be various examples. The one I always go to is when we all got behind an octopus predicting the World Cup results in however many years ago that was, and people were genuinely putting money on what an octopus was like going to do. So like humans are terrible at predictions, and I suppose going back to earlier slide, none of those things have happened in terms of like there is still horses around. We haven't got rid of them because of cars and things like this. But the other side of it is that machines aren't actually that great at judgment yet. So, you know, that might change, but at the moment they aren't. So in terms of reading the room, understanding conversations with people, you know, there's only some certain decisions that actually people can make. So what we believe in at Ask Bosco is kind of collective intelligence. So accurate prediction that informs judgment, which is obviously the machine side of things, and then optimal judgment. So basically a person being able to take those, you know, that number crunching, that data, and then being able to make a good decision with that, or a bad one. So how can AI improve your online marketing and make you more money? Ask Bosco. So I'm going to jump into a quick product demo, and it's just on some slides, but if anybody did want to see the product today, we have got like some salespeople around and things like that. I'm sure they can get the laptop up and to show you. But this is what our interface looks like. So when you come onto the Ask Bosco product, you get given, there's numerous different areas, but the three main areas of the tool are a reporting suite. So we have your actual data. We need about 2 years worth of data in order for Dr. Rosie and the Ask Bosco algorithm to do some of the more forecasting clever things that we do. So we built a reporting suite to kind of help marketeers within their, you know, business. We also have the Ask Bosco index, so that's our competitor benchmarking tool. And then we also have the forecasting and optimization AI that kind of looks out into the future of what we can predict. So yeah, I'll just highlight these areas. Helpful insights, our Bosco forecasting. So we at the moment forecast 8 weeks out. By the end of November, beginning of December, that will be extended to
a year in advance.
A year in advance. So we're going to be able to give forecasts in terms of what we believe will happen based on your previous data and our data sources that we use through the machine learning algorithm of Ask Bosco. And then Rosie's going to take you through this page, but this is where we get into more of the details of the forecasting.
Yeah, so this is, I think, probably the page that I find the most interesting, because it's it kind of illustrates where you can get incremental gains if you make small changes. So obviously we've got some more insights in the top box, but then the kind of meat of this page is in the performance overview chart. So there's the day along the bottom, so you know you're going along, and in blue you can see the actual performance over the last whatever period you choose. This is over the last 30 days. Yeah. And then in purple dashed line, we have what we think you could have achieved if you had followed Ask Bosco's recommendations exactly. So typically what we see when a client first comes on board is these two lines will be a bit further apart. Like obviously we'll have some peaks like this one here, where obviously the performance is a little bit higher. You know, there's always going to be a bit of variability, but generally the purple dashed line will be, you know, some percentage higher in general. And over time, as you start to follow the recommendations more closely and the algorithm learns more about your the results of those actions, these two lines will get kind of converge and get closer and closer together. Yeah, and then on this page, we also have kind of like a more overview of, again, you can choose your time period. Again, this is the last 30 days, what you actually spent, and then what the particular budget splits for that whole period would be. Obviously, like most people aren't changing their budgets on a daily basis because it's just too much, it's too regular of a cadence. But if you can look at these like these bigger time periods, you know, last 30 days, there's obviously quite a lot of statistical power that goes into that. It's just more robust if you've got more days data to go on. So yeah, I think that's all that I was going to say about that page.
Yeah, no, and one of those, I suppose, one of the things we also have, we go down to campaign level distribution as well. So when we first launched ASK BOSCO, we actually only had the channel distribution. So we were telling people how to change their overall budget, and everyone just kept saying, well, how are we actually going to do that? So people wanted the campaign level data to be able to actually understand how they can change campaign budgets in order to do the channel level budgets and then kind of increase spend. One of the things that we also pride ourselves on is obviously being completely channel agnostic. So it doesn't actually matter to us which channels you're plugging in there. Typically, if you speak to your Facebook account manager, they'll tell you to set up an Instagram campaign. If you speak to your Google account manager, they'll tell you to set up a YouTube campaign, because it's all going to the same bank account. Ultimately, we don't get any kickbacks, obviously, from any of these platforms. Totally agnostic, and it's what your data is telling you you should do, not what the ad platforms are telling you should do. We also have a budget planner section, so you can change your target. The default of Bosco is to optimize towards revenue, but actually if you had a ROAS target, sales target, you would be able to come in here and change that. You might have a brand awareness campaign as well. So you can go through, select the channels that you want to have, and it'll give you basically a budget recommendation, so you can have a scenario planner. This is our Bosco Index page. So this is our competitor benchmarking suite. We have a score out of 1,000. Anything above 700 we say is typically good. This is like an online search visibility score. So it looks at loads of different third-party sources and gives an overall online visibility score in terms of what we believe you are doing in the market. And it bases you against your competitors. So I suppose from a league table point of view, it's quite interesting for people to be able to see where they are for the products that they're actually selling on their website. One of the key elements that we actually take into the Bosco Index score is around the Google core metrics, so site speed, Google core metrics, and we can track competitors over time as well. Bosco Index score league table. You'll see if you follow John on LinkedIn or the Ask Bosco that we publish like some of the league tables every month as well. We also track this over time. So typically you would be coming to this page. I don't know who this is. I can't see. Maybe called, yeah, but I'm maybe called Beauty. I'm just sort of thinking maybe they've potentially done something here. So the types of insights you'd be taking out of here is like, have they potentially done a new site migration that's improved, you know, the quality of their website? Has there been an SEO algorithm update that they've actually, you know, done really well out of and improved out of? And this is where you can kind of track those external events that impact your performance. And like I say, we have the site speed comparison, desktop and mobile, and again pull that in every single month so you can trend and track that. We speak to a lot of kind of C-suite people as well, and obsessed with site speed and what everybody else is doing. So it's quite a good, you know, it's a good dashboard to have in those sorts of meetings. Finally, this is our reporting suite. So just to try and make life easier for everybody, we have all of the data. So in a previous life, I was a marketing manager coming in, doing your Monday morning reporting, your monthly reporting, pulling it from Facebook, Google, GA4, these different places. What we have here is kind of a one-stop shop of information. So we pull in all of your data, like I say, from an ASK BOSCO point of view. I suppose again what Adam was saying, garbage in, garbage out type thing, but we don't, your data is your data. We'll pull as much of it in as possible in order to get an answer for you. And we pull everything into here so you can easily compare and contrast numbers. So GA4, all the ad platforms. I mean, you can see down the left-hand side, if you've got a channel and you want to connect it, we can connect directly into the platform or into GA4, or from your own e-commerce platform as well, if you want, in terms of the numbers that you trust. And these are just some of our nice dashboards that we have throughout our reporting suite. So that's ASK BOSCO. Just before we go, Rosie's going to just talk to you about some of the real life examples of people that we've worked with.
Yeah, sure. So the first example is Castor. So Castor are a sportswear brand that have grown really rapidly over the last 2 years. Obviously, the dream is to grow rapidly. Everyone wants to grow rapidly, but there are certain challenges that come along with this. So Castor essentially came on because they wanted to find the more data-driven budget plans from us. But a kind of welcome side effect was that one of the things they were struggling with was human error coming into their reporting. So basically, because all of the reporting was automated, it basically firstly reduced the error that they were seeing. And also it meant that their team's time that was spent on this kind of admin stuff was reduced by 25% every single month. So, you know, you're saving about a week's worth of the team's time overall. So they were really pleased that they had a tool like ASK BOSCO that could basically keep up with their rapid growth and help them to make more money and to have better awareness and trust in their data. And then the next one is Pavers. So Pavers are a brand that we work quite closely with. So they came to us last year around the peak Black Friday season, and they basically wanted to get as much as they possibly could in this season out of their marketing spend. And they had some ambitious ROAS targets, and we basically ran the simulations or, you know, budget plans for them and recommended quite a significant increase in their marketing spend. This was something that I think they were kind of considering anyway, but with that extra kind of trust that they had from Bosco, they felt more comfortable doing that. And the reason that they kind of felt so much trust in what we were doing is that in the lead up to Black Friday, we were seeing that we'd had a 95% accuracy in our weekly predictions for their performance for the last, I think it was 3 months. So yeah, they had their best ever Black Friday, their best ever week overall, I think. So yeah,
we know the Pavers team quite well, and I would say, you know, everyone works in a different area of marketing, even in this room and stuff. And I think the thing that ASK BOSCO gave them was like, you know, the head of marketing already thought that this was probably the right, you know, gut feel, this is probably the right thing to do, but you had a third party tool actually backing you up with that decision as well. So it just kind of, you know, lifted a bit of that responsibility, lifted the weight. So from you know, different agencies using it like that and that kind of thing, it's, you know, it kind of just helps people make those decisions a little bit quicker.
Yeah, so and Cult Beauty were a brand that came to us, I think it was about 1.5 years ago. Yeah. And they basically wanted to look as attractive as possible for acquisition. So they were acquired by the Hut Group, and they ran all of their reporting and budget planning through Bosco, and they actually saw a 26% improvement in their ROAS. And obviously that really, really helped the acquisition process go smoothly. And then I believe this is the final one. Yeah.
There's a new one actually.
Oh, there's a new one.
They're coming up on there either, are
What?
What do you mean?
they? Coming up on there, same slide?
Yeah.
Sorry, so Sigma Sports are a brand that are really important to us because they basically come to us all the time with loads and loads of feedback. And this is exactly the kind of brand that we want to work with. Someone that helps us to kind of align with what our customers actually want. So we're always trying to push the product forward as quickly as possible and in the best way possible, so that we're always evolving towards what our clients are going to find most useful. And on top of that, we can also say that we saw a 20% uplift in their revenue year on year from using Ask Bosco. Yeah.
And then, because we've got visual soft in the room, I did a new slide. It was just around our sort of, you know, we do work direct with retailers, but we also work with agencies, and you know, we've started working with Visual Soft. We've got, you know, over 20 clients now of theirs on the system. We're kind of working with them embedded in sort of the ways that they are working. They're in the room today, so say hi. I'm sure they could talk to you about it. But I know that they are really interested in terms of growing partners, and obviously Ask Bosco kind of aligned with their proposition as well, in terms of helping their customers kind of take the destiny into their own hands and growing their revenue as well. So just to mention about Visual Soft too. So in terms of I suppose scalability of onboarding, we're able to do that through Ask Bosco as well. And that's everything that we've got.
Very much.